Hey there, this is a Leona counter video intended to fill you in on everything you need to know to deal with Leona when she's on the opposite team. If there's a champion you find yourself struggling with in your solo queue games and you're tired of banning it, then feel free to drop a comment and let us know. If you're interested in learning more about Leona or any other champion, then head on over to the Mobalytics website where you can see everything you need to know, including builds, combos, pro builds, tips and more. So first off, what does Leona do? Leona is a tanky crowd control machine who is designed to get into fights and lock up as many enemies as possible. She has super strong lane presence due to her CC being hard to avoid and on a pretty low cooldown. She also offers huge burst due to her passive. Leona also can be super hard to shut down due to the insane amount of tankiness she gains from her kit and itemization. Let's take a look at Leona's strengths and weaknesses. Leona's strengths lie mainly in her sheer amount of crowd control. Her whole kit is all designed to lock enemies down. Leona is also super tanky and has amazing kill potential in lane. She also works well in pretty much any lane, so is a very safe pick in general. Leona struggles against champions that can prevent her engage and also doesn't offer a crazy amount of damage on her own, so is therefore heavily reliant on her teammates. She also can be melted if she gets behind and doesn't have a chance to get those tanky items. We're going to dive in specifically how to counter Leona, but first here's an overview of the major tips that we'll be breaking down further in this video. First up, dodge her Zenith Blade. This is by far the most obvious and the most important of the lot, especially in the lane phase. Pre-6, Leona will need to learn this ability to get on you and stun you. If you dodge it and ward your brushes so she can't use it from the fog of war, it's a great solution to try and handle that. Respect her experience. Leona is a champion that focuses her engages and all-ins around her XP advantage. Don't let her control the lane and get that level up engage before you can react. Stall out her W. Leona's W gives her damage reduction and resistances, so attacking her during this period isn't that effective. So you can also use this to her advantage when taking turret hits. Try to wait for this ability to time out before focusing her. Abuse her ability downtime. If Leona has missed her E, she can't really get to you without flashing. Try to punish her or AD carry as much as you can in this window. Spread out in team fights. Leona is always looking for a big AoE ultimate in fights, so don't stack up too closely and try to be prepared for her inevitable engage. It's always good to think about when a champion is strongest or weakest. Leona is strongest in the early mid game where she can gain a lead in lane with the kill potential and then force fights whenever she can to abuse her team's lead. Leona struggles most in the very late game when most of her opponents have enough damage to shred her down once she engages. Her utility in CC is still very useful, but she's just easier to kill. Now let's take a look at dealing with Leona's early game. As we spoke about earlier, dodging Leona's Zenith Blade is the main way to stop her killing you in the lane phase. Make sure to ward those lane brushes to avoid her engaging from the fog of war. Try to fight Leona when her abilities are on cooldown. If she wastes her QE combo, then she has no form of CC and her W is what makes her tanky. Without these cooldowns, she's simply a sitting duck and you can either take her down or just ignore her and destroy her AD carry instead. Don't let her control the lane and get an experience lead. Leona's level 2, 3 and 6 all-ins are very strong, so try to stay aware of this to avoid getting behind early. If Leona looks to roam up towards mid lane or splits up from her AD carry to go get vision, try to use this window to punish a lane partner and put them behind. Leona is a champion who relies heavily on teammates, so you can also go and take her out instead if she's overextending alone. Looking at Leona's mid game, at this point she'll be looking to force fights around her teammates utilizing her AoE CC heavy kit that works really well at this point in the game. Pick your fights depending on Leona's whereabouts and don't let her run riot on your backline. Leona's ultimate is a huge team fighting ability. In the mid game this can be crucial to her winning fights. If you can bait this ability out and dodge it before any fights break out, this will increase your chances of winning those team fights by a significant amount. Leona has no form of escape, and although she may be tanky, she will die pretty quickly when she's on her own. When Leona looks to gain some vision control and steps out of position, try to focus her down and kill her off. At the very least you should be able to burn her flash ultimate, which could be pivotal in the near future. Remember to make sure she's alone though, as if not, she can easily turn the tables with her allies and kill you instead. In the late game, Leona will simply look to stick with her teammates and provide as much disruption as she can in fights. By this point in the game, everyone should have a good amount of penetration and Leona will actually be pretty easy to shred down. Try to keep your backline alive so they can just melt through Leona when she engages. Leona's ultimate and CC in general will be on pretty low cooldown in the late game, so don't get baited out thinking you are safe around if she misses her abilities. Continue to respect her, keep your distance and don't stack up too close to your teammates. Keep your map warded. If there's one thing you don't want to do in any game, it's face check Leona. She thrives in the fog of war where she can lock up a whole team, so keep the map warded as much as you can, especially in areas around objectives that you may find yourself fighting over shortly. Now let's take a look at some of the items that are good to build against Leona. So first off, Quicksilver Sash. If you haven't taken Cleanse, this is an absolute no-brainer versus Leona if she's focusing you in fights. The item will cleanse her stuns and allow you to escape or fight back. Mercury's Treads. Tenacity will also help bring Leona's CC down, and these boots also grant you some magic resist which will help against most of Leona's damage. Penetration. Void Staff, Lord Dominic's Regards, or any other form of penetration will really help you out when it comes to simply killing Leona. She's a pure tank and will be stacking resistances. Stopwatch is Zhonya's Hourglass. A well-timed stopwatch can save you from a huge Leona engage. This will require some good timing but can be the difference between life and death. Chevalier's Battle Song. Always a great support item to pick up for strong engages. That wraps everything up for a Leona counter video. If you enjoyed this video, then you can find more counter videos on our website or in the playlist link below. And be sure to subscribe to be alerted for when we cover a new champion. Thanks for watching and we look forward to seeing you again.